Hello and welcome to Feral Woodcraft. My name is Joe. Thanks for stopping by today. Today we want to talk about the BushBat, designed by Chris Tanner, Shane Wink, and made by Bark River Knives. Stick with me. I know that was cruel. Welcome back, guys. Thank you for choosing to spend your time with me today. I do appreciate it. I know that was a teaser of what's coming. I know that was cruel. Made you hungry. I'm still hungry even though I just ate it. But anyway, thank you very much for being here today. I do appreciate your time. We are here to talk about the BushBat. This is made by Bark River Knives. It is a collaboration as far as design goes. Bark River did have some influence, but the majority of it comes from the mind of Prepared Mind 101, or Chris Tanner, and Shane Wink of Shane Wink Knives. Now, a lot of you out there immediately recognize the front end of this thing. It looks suspiciously like a larger blade, the Jesmic, that's basically what it is. The Jesmic was shrunk down and put on this handle. It's a karambit style handle. It's a little bit different. Shane has his own take on it. Shane is the designer of the handle. Chris saw it and absolutely fell in love with Shane's design. They came to an agreement where Chris could use Shane's design as far as a handle and put it on a trimmed down Jesmic style EDC size blade. It is a little bit different in that this one does come Scandivex. It is, like I said, it does come from Bark River, so you know they love their convexes. Without getting too far ahead of myself, that Scandivex works absolutely spectacularly. I love it. But you guys know I'm a fan of convex, so no big surprise there. But anyway, before I ramble too terribly much, which you guys know I am famous for, let's go over the specs of this knife so you guys are a bit more informed about it and what it is. And then we will move on towards the project of today, which you guys have already seen a sneak peek of that. Again, this is the BushBat from Bark River Knives. It is A2 tool steel. It is hardened to 58 to 60 rock wool. The blade thickness is 0.125 inches. The overall length is 7.75 inches. The blade length itself is 3.625 inches. It does come with an ambidextrous sheath that you see here. The blade will go either way in there, so if you're a lefty, it'll work for you, or a righty. Okay, so specs out of the way. What's on the docket today? Well, like I said, you guys already saw a teaser of that in the very beginning of this intro. You know, I've long wanted to roast a chicken on a water wheel, so I wanted to try that today. Although a chicken has already been done, so I'm doing my own thing. I wrapped up a beef roast with some bacon, seasoned it up a little bit, and we're going to stick that over a fire. The more I have used this particular knife over the last 3 to 4 weeks, the more I have fallen in love with the mix of the Scandivex on here as well as the size. It is just so handy. There's so much you can do with this. This knife in particular, it is king in the kitchen. As far as a bushcrafting blade goes, it is absolutely king in the kitchen. It is definitely a slicer. In and out of the kitchen, its food prep is amazing for a bushcraft knife, but out in the woods, it makes feather sticks look incredibly easy, which, I mean, that's because it is easy with this knife. There is a bit of a control issue. You do have to get used to the sweep of the blade, so if you're used to a straight or standard style bushcraft blade, this may give you a little bit of trouble until you practice with it a little bit. It is A2 steel, so it is incredibly strong. It is hardened to 58 to 60, which most Bark River knives that come in A2 are heat treated to that point. I've used quite a few Bark Rivers in A2 and they have never let me down. They are rock solid. Bark River knows what they're doing with A2. So that being said, the blade is extremely strong and also the edge retention on it is excellent. And just like the Jesmic, it is really good at bushcraft tasks. You know, back to feathering, it does feathering extremely well. It slices incredibly well. Because of the angle of the Scandivex, it does excellent push cuts if you're cutting out notches and stuff like that. But also couple that with the size of the blade and the profile here, where you have the clip point coming down on the tip to make the tip be center line with the handle. It allows you to put your thumb pretty much anywhere on the spine of this knife and really get in there and finally control your notch and how much material you're removing from where inside that notch extremely easily. And for those wondering, it does come with a 90-degree spine. That 90-degree edge on the spine is kind of softened up here for your thumb. That's not necessary for me. I'll go ahead and just let the bean spill there. A sharp spine does not bother my thumb, but for those that prefer to have a little softened edge up here, it is softened. The next point of note is, will it baton? Yes, it will baton. It does a really good job of it too. It's actually kind of deceiving. This knife is not designed to baton specifically. You know, light work, yes. Because of the karambit style hole for your pinky or your thumb back here, I would recommend, and so does Bark River and Chris, recommends you put your pinky on the outside and not on the inside, like, you know, just like brass knuckles. If you start batoning with this, it's going to bang up your pinky and not be comfortable at all. But it will baton. Like I said, it is deceptive. It does it very well. the wedge created by the Scandivex, it just rips that wood open. So it's really tempting to go ahead and probably overdo this knife. But I do want to clarify, I'm not at all saying that this is a weak knife. It's just not designed for that. It would probably handle it just fine. But per manufacturer specifications, it's not designed for big batoning. You know, light firework, you know, making small kindling out of bigger wood, you know, that sort of thing. Now we've talked about the high points on as far as the Bushcraft side of things on here. Now let's marry that with the handle. As far as a Bushcrafter's perspective of this tactical style handle, it is way different. But remember, this is an EDC knife, and that's what I have to keep on reminding myself of. This isn't designed for a full-time on a Bushcraft style blade. It's not its sole design purpose. The design purpose behind it is more along the lines of, you know, a jack of all trades, a master of none, which, you know, I am hesitant to say that because it makes it sound like this knife isn't that great at anything. It's great at a lot of things, but you mix these two and there's going to be a little bit of a disconnect on either side, whether it be tactically or self-defense or on Bushcraft side. Chris has a long write-up on it. Chris's video is very explanatory about it. The short of this, the design purpose of this, is to breach the gap between a Bushcraft EDC blade, a regular EDC blade, and that one with like a self-defense style tactical blade, the Karambit. So without putting words in Chris's mouth, my perception of this knife is that there is a need for both a self-defense or a tactical style EDC blade, as well as for folks like us who love to go out in the woods and do stuff like that, go camping and hiking, and prefer a Bushcraft style blade. Well, if you marry the two, marry a tactical style, the back end back here, and marry it with the front, the Bushcraft style up here, you would end up with a good EDC blade that can fit both parties. Tactical is not my forte. I would be stepping out of my lane if I tried to, you know, show you all this fancy, cool, you know, self-defense moves with a Karambit style blade. I'm not going to do that to you guys. I'd probably hurt myself. But, so I am going to say that as far as I can see, this lives up to most, if not all, of the Karambit style handles that you can see online, that you see the professionals, the guys that are trained in self-defense or even in offense with a Karambit. This handle shares all the similar characteristics with it. So I have every expectation that this will function in that particular fashion just as well as the front end of this functions as far as Bushcraft goes. So with design intent in mind, this is a great marriage between a tactical or self-defense style blade and a Bushcraft blade that comes together to make a nice little EDC style blade that will cover pretty much anything you would need to cover very nicely. And as far as the price point, guys, if I remember correctly, it comes in right at 130 bucks. So you can find it on Knives Ship Free, DLT Trading, and probably a few other sites out there. Well, it looks like I traded horse flies for yellow jackets. I came all the way back here to get away from the horse flies, but now I'm getting inundated by yellow jackets because they smell my food. That is awesome. But I kind of figured it would be. It's got bacon on it, man. How can you go wrong? That was a lot of work, I gotta be honest. But so worth it. Do me a favor, guys. If you enjoyed the video, would you go ahead and give me a thumbs up? I would appreciate it very much. Also, if you enjoy content such as this, please go ahead and hit that red subscribe button right down here. And as always, guys, hit up the comment section. Let's talk about this knife, any other knife that you guys want to talk about, and maybe some activities you'd like to see in a future knife review. Anyway, thanks again for being here today, and I will see you next time. You guys have a great day.